Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. We are today going to be talking about artificial intelligence and how that is going to impact our data-driven future. We're seeing more devices, more user-generated content, and more connection between everything we do, living our lives more digitally than ever, and starting to talk about things like metaverses more prominently. But how does artificial intelligence fit into all of this picture, and what and how will it take the data that we all are generating and do something for us in the future as well? Well, we're going to be talking about that and the areas of opportunity for you as investors and for you as founders as well, to start building and placing bets in and throughout the industry as well. And today I'm joined by an outstanding cast from the VCTV family, including the Grand Master of Artificial Intelligence himself as well. But before we introduce each and every one of them, a big thank you to the LaToken team, to Hasmik and Maria for making today's episode possible as always. And I'm your host today, Kyle Ellicott. Let's go ahead and jump in, introducing each and every one of our investor panelists. Grand Master of Artificial Intelligence himself, Gary Fowler, why don't you kick us off?
I appreciate that. I feel, so honored, Kyle, to be honored by you, the grand wizard of everything, the tech wizard of all, the all-seeing eye. I appreciate it. Anyhow, it's great to be here. Great to see some familiar faces and some friends. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I've done 17 companies, and yes, Kyle's right. I love artificial intelligence. I've been involved in 2 unicorns, the original management team of Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company. Love writing about AI. In fact, my last article, if you check it out in Forbes, is on infobesity and the challenges that each and every one of us has around us with the amount of data. I am the CEO, president, and co-founder of GSD Get Shit Done Venture Studios. We are a premier AI and quantum venture studio that is located in 37 countries worldwide. We look to curate talent from all over the world and help them go global using Silicon Valley support. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you as well, Raghu.
Hi, this is Raghu Rao. Thank you, Kyle and LaToken. It's always a pleasure to be on here, especially on this topic about the future, data-driven future and AI. I'm from Princeton, New Jersey, serial entrepreneur, investment advisor, and strategic planning advisor as well.
Vandana.
So, hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you to the entire team of LaToken for having me here over and over again. I was in Singapore and Jakarta for 15 years in investment banking. I had my own family office fund there. This is my 7th year back in India. I did investments, then I went back to advisory. Currently, I'm connected with 300 investors globally. I run an investment bank out of India. This is one of the most well-known boutique investment banks led by a female founder. I'm an advisor with Loyal VC. I'm also a partner with GST Venture Studios. I've given 160 plus talks all over the world. I'm selected as the top 10 women leaders in wealth management 2021. My brand comes under the top 10 women entrepreneur brands. In terms of geographies, we are all over the world, and we are sector agnostic. Typically, we do a $1 million to $50 million. And once again, thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. Last but not least, Adrian.
Hello, everybody. Happy to be here in VCTV LaToken family. We are a gathering of friends. We know each other, which is awesome. And artificial intelligence is a great subject. I'm Adrian Niculescu, serial entrepreneur and investor. I'm involved in a few projects: Cloudcoin Consortium, Cloudcoin is a post-blockchain digital currency, and Cloudcoin Finance, a DeFi project involving both blockchain and post-blockchain technology. Also, I'm involved with DAO1. DAO1 is a true decentralized autonomous organization. I'm venture partner with Singapore-based N Ventures. Also involved as a mentor in Virgin Startups program in UK. and building slowly, between other things, coincruncher.com, news and education resource for everything blockchain, crypto, NFTs. I'm very happy and grateful to be part of this educational project run by VCTV and LaToken, which is an MBA in digital assets, entrepreneurship, startups, and everything in between. Thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute.
Absolutely. And with that being said, Gary, I want to come down to you first. Artificial intelligence is your bread and butter. It's something you've spoken a lot about with us here on VCTV, and you and I have spoken furthermore on many other panels about this topic and how rapidly progressive it has become, specifically over the last year and a half as we've made this digital transformation into a much more digital lifestyle. Paint us a picture as to where and how artificial intelligence has dramatically shifted in the last 2 years and kind of set the stage as to where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, so the challenge, I go back to infobesity, Kyle. And, you know, the challenges around us, as I've said many times, there's 49 zettabytes of data. If you took DVDs or CDs and stacked them one on top of another, it would go 35 times between the Earth and the moon. So imagine that number growing 68% per year. We are in a state of infobesity. We need to have tools, machine learning, deep learning, all kinds of artificial intelligence to be able to help us to make sense of that. And think, Kyle, in our own personal worlds, the amount of data that we have. Each one of us here today has about 300,000 items in your personal cloud. Well, the entire web in 1996 was 257,000 websites. You, Kyle, Vandana, Adrian, Raghu, each one of you have more information in your personal cloud than the entire web had. Now, the problem is that number doubles every year. In 5 years, it'll be 10 million items. We need to have tools that'll help us make sense of the data around us. And Kyle, you know, you're right. The digital transformation is upon us, but look at the challenge we had in the supply chain because of not having transparency. Look at some of the new companies that have come out over the last couple of months that allow us to have a window into the supply chain using artificial intelligence tools, machine learning and deep learning to help us gain the insights. Look at what's happened over the course of the last 2 years with drug discovery. Most people don't realize that a lot of the bench time that would have gone into developing drugs for COVID were actually done with AI modeling. So our world's in front of us, it's changing rapidly. And as my friend Raghu, who's on the panel today, dear friend Raghu, would say, as quantum computers are coming in, and imagine having systems tied in with artificial intelligence that can be 100 million times faster than a supercomputer. What that means, Kyle, something that would take 10,000 years on the fastest supercomputer today would take 200 seconds on a quantum. Imagine how much data we can analyze. So the challenges that we have in front of us, whether it's global warming, whether it's farming 4.0, having the Internet of Things, devices to look at the soil samples, what needs to be added or not, self-driving tractors, we need to optimize. We need to make sure that the quality of our products are better, and we need to do it very quickly. The population of the planet.
Gary, it looks like you might have muted yourself on accident there.
Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Yeah, so anyhow, what I wanted to say is that, you know, the challenges, we have a lot of challenges in front of us as humanity, but the situation is we can address it if we use AI tools in the right way, if we use empathy and emotion, and I write about it a lot because a pragmatic system may not really like the kind of things we've done to our environment and to ourselves. We need to figure out how we can work together. And quite frankly, Kyle, we need to figure out better how we can work with each other. You know, in fact, my next presentation at the UN on October 1st is technology is a tool for peace. And AI is a big part of it.
I love it. Raghu, share any additional thoughts to add on there, and also would love to get your thoughts. Well, first off, anything to add to Gary, then I have a question for you separately. Raghu, you seem to be muted as well. Yep.
Yes, I think what Gary says about infobesity is true, but the reason for that is this: even though the data is exploding, a lot of the data is usually looked at once, created once, and then never looked at again. Much of it is data people are reluctant to delete. Or part of it is they don't know what they don't know, right? They don't even know what data they have. This happens in large corporates as well. So we need a different type of technology to be able to handle this data and allow it to be kind of become obsolescent, but with control, so that if you ever need something, you can get it back. So I think this whole area of technologies where we allow data based on different type classifications, right? Urgency, frequency of use, sensitivity, whether it's privacy, and ultimately so about security as well, cyber security. So how can we come up with technologies that can help keep this data, the ones that we need? Of course, the AI itself and generates is dependent on big data. So there is that kind of data that is aggregated to train the models and things like that. But how do we? I mean, once it's trained, I don't know whether there is ways to not have to keep it around all the time, except when you use it. So there are technologies. One of them is SplitByte, which I'm working on, that can allow you to kind of put things away, but you can use it when you need it, but in a secure manner. So that and to talk about something that has happened recently in the U.S., there is this U.S. Industrial and Innovation and Competition Act, so-called Innovation Bill, that is just being tabled here along with the infrastructure bill. It is like we're talking about $250 billion are being targeted at essentially the data-driven market, in my opinion. It's towards small businesses, it's towards robotics, manufacturing, and of course this aimed at American businesses, but I'm sure some of that will flow out globally as well. So I think there is a lot of effort being made from the US side to keep their edge and get to become a leader in this space, the AI data-driven future. So that's something I think that we should think about. From the infrastructure side, for instance, cybersecurity is getting 3%, which we're talking 3% of 2 trillion. So that's a large number as well.
So that was a follow-up question I had for you right there, Raghu. You read my mind on this Tuesday morning. So in terms of cybersecurity and the data-driven future, what are we not thinking about in terms of the impact that artificial intelligence is going to have as AI gets starting to be applied to data we know about and we don't know about? And don't know about, I'm referring to that user-generated data that just happens when we take a step, for instance, right? Or we're writing an email, as Gary has mentioned, with infobesity. So not negative, but just what we may not be aware is being generated, leading us into a data-driven future and the cybersecurity data leakage problems that we may have. What are we not thinking about? What do we need to be doing to prepare for that, for those entrepreneurs that are out there, and then investors, know kind of understand where to be looking at as those opportunities?
Yeah, the cybersecurity or data privacy is a whole other discussion. I think things are underway to kind of make the owner of the creator of the data be the owner, right? As opposed to the big five like the Googles of the world, who take our data and then make it proprietary to in their environment. So I think that discussion is that's happening. It's still there's a lot of obviously a lot of influence from some of the big techs. So because I think data is like oil, as they say right now, for AI, that is very, very important for training models and being able to do that. So the data privacy is very, very important. Privacy is one aspect. The other aspect is just this whole identity theft kind of issue where people are able to track things without us knowing, pretty much things that we share, what we think is private, it's actually available online in many cases, some from data breaches, others from people don't even understand that what they are giving. They think it's free, but it's not free. Their data about themselves is not free. So, and globally there are other issues like the whole social credit type of thing situation in China. So I think it's a bigger problem that hasn't yet been addressed enough.
No, you're absolutely right. And Vandana, anything to add on to that? And also would love to get your perspective, again, from Southeast Asia, what you're starting to see around artificial intelligence. As Raghu and Gary both painted a picture, is there's a lot of general activity that's happening there and progression around artificial intelligence. There's also a lot of untapped data opportunities and sources as well. Any thoughts to share on where we're going?
Yeah, so leveraging technology to drive returns is not new in the investment world. Initially it used to be by hedge funds. Data-driven investing has become increasingly popular among other institutional and private investors also. Now, different from model-driven investing methods, data-driven investing aims to examine information in its entirely and find connections or patterns that cannot be revealed through traditional formulas or models. Now, investments in AI, machine learning, and robotic processes automation technology are set to reach $232 billion by 2025. And AI technologies, currently account for $12.4 billion of global investment. This number will skyrocket in the next 3 years. Now, with 40% of executives expected to increase, their AI investments will be 20% more than what is showing up now. Traditionally, the investment strategies have used publicly available data like financial statements, market data to make informed executive decisions. Recently, we have been observing that there is an increasing use of unconventional data. For example, internet web traffic, satellite images, and social media create a more detailed picture so that you can make a better investment decision. Now, these data-driven investment models are on the rise, given the fact that they can provide investors with informational advantages. Now, talking about social media, and another strong data-driven trend is sentiment analysis. Investors can check how brands, customers feel about it by analyzing its posts on social media. Data-driven methods can depict the general emotions and opinions related to a certain business. For instance, knowing that customers have complaints or negative opinions about a certain company is essential if you were about to invest in it. And, it may indicate future issues, even though the historical performance is positive. So a simple thing, if I am looking at Facebook and I happen to, click on initially, during the lockdown, I was collecting these plants and all I was seeing was plant pictures, because actually it directs you towards that automatically. So it's quite dangerous. At the same time, it's quite useful also.
Absolutely. Adrian, anything to add on to that point of Vandana's or Raghu's and Gary's furthermore as well? I mean, artificial intelligence plays a role in a lot of the funds and also projects that you've been working on. Speak to us of kind of what you're starting to see happening in the space.
I would like to refer especially to data. And in our digital world, money is data at the end of the day, because everything is digital. And let's say in trading, if you have artificial intelligence based aggregators to understand very well what happens in the market, you can make great decision based on the trends, because AI will gather the data, so you will see before anyone else, or you will be among the few lucky ones who will understand perfectly the trends. Let's take an example. What happened when Bitcoin was launched in El Salvador. Everybody was expecting it that day that Bitcoin will rise, right? And many traders actually they bought long positions with exchanges or with other platforms, saying that okay, we will be rich by tomorrow, and it happened the opposite. And the traders who are able to aggregate data from the market to understand how crowds are reacting, how whales are reacting in such situations, they may win. And the stake is very, very important here. And I see a lot of initiatives, which some of them will be successful, having as a thesis, let's get back our data, the ownership of our data, because anything we are doing on Google, on Facebook is tracked, our data is sold, and so on. Of course, if you don't have anything to hide, it maybe is not quite disturbing. But these companies, they make a lot of money out of the data collecting from you. And it's a real battle here, because who owns data will dominate the market, because data is showing customer habits, what brands you are liking, what you want to do next, when is your birthday to show you a special offer, and things like that. So who owns the data, who is managing the data, is able to pull a lot of money from your pocket or from your company's accounts, because they will know, or they will figure out your next steps. And it's a huge battle here, and great play field of opportunities, both for investors and entrepreneurs, to create companies that will exploit this trend in an ethical way, hopefully.
Absolutely. And Gary, I want to come back, or actually, Raghu, I want to come back to you. And then Gary, we're going to close out with you today. Raghu, share a little bit more of any other opportunities that you see really being relevant around artificial intelligence, data, and cybersecurity over the next 3 years. It sounds like the picture that you painted is we are at a crossroads, and we have to begin working on this more now than ever, especially in the blockchain and DeFi world. We've seen a number of protocols and applications that have had attacks and leakage over the past few days. Just in relevancy, we also have a lot more security and on-chain metrics going into the industry. But as we move into a more data-driven future, as we move into a more digital life, what do we need to be paying attention to over the next couple of years as investors and entrepreneurs? And then where can everyone find you online? Oh, Raghu, we got you on mute.
I know, I'm trying to be too quick here. So I think there are two things there. One is just like blockchain evolved into a platform for data transparency, right? It started out in crypto, and now it's become a general platform for data transparency. Similarly, we will see an evolution of a platform for privacy protection, data protection across the globe, given the issues with ransomware, the quantum hacking, and other kinds of things that are now becoming a global phenomenon. So that is a important area: data protection and system protection from a privacy perspective, in terms of even if system is hacked, the critical data is not leaked, right? That is one aspect. The second thing where I see a lot of opportunities from the industrial robotics area, which is kind of been really leading investment in AI. Amazons of the world have been using it in warehouses and things like that, which has really put in a lot of investment into advancing the industrial automation robotics area. And I think that is going to, that is not as doesn't have the same appeal that people see in the end user applications, but it's actually changing the game in terms of warehousing and some of these logistics side, including in shipping and transportation. So I think in that area, especially, there is because of the pandemic and what happened, with the supplies, the PPEs, and all that. The world is kind of trying to find alternatives to just depending solely on a few countries like China. So I think there's global opportunity there, especially India is trying to be part of that Quad alliance to be the manufacturing partner in that alliance. So I see there opportunities from a India perspective. And I think the other aspect that we haven't addressed is how cybersecurity can be melded into AI, especially from these kind of fraudulent data, putting it in. So you train. There is already like cognitive bias type of things, but there's also intentional, tweaking that can be done in terms of the affecting the data that's used for training, and which you cannot even, unlike traditional software systems, you cannot even pinpoint why something is not working once the model has been trained. And also from the insurance sector, how do you find liability for these kind of AI-driven things if something goes wrong, like a huge accident happens and everything was driven by AI, right? So these are all areas that we still have a lot of opportunity. People can find me on LinkedIn at Raghu S. Rao. I'm always happy to talk about AI and cybersecurity and biotech, both from the investment side as well as to entrepreneurs as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Raghu. Vandana, similar question as to where to be focused in the future, next 2 to 3 years, and then where can everyone find you online?
Yeah, so, I feel that there are several benefits of investing in AI. A lot of venture capitalists and early stage investors are using AI and data science to make executive decisions. It is estimated that about 3/4 of this industry will make these decisions using AI and data analytics by 2025. Forward-looking enterprises have lower operating expenses, greater profits on average. On average, organizations which are future ready showed a 2.8x boost in the corporate profitability and 1.7x higher efficiency than at lower maturity levels. And AI tools will be used to determine how likely a leadership team is to succeed based on employment history, field expertise, and previous business success, and basically revolutionize the way we have been investing till now. Now, current AI technology is already capable of providing insights into customer desires and predicting future behavior. Unique profiles can be built with little to no human input that can determine qualities about an individual from real-time or audio recordings. While this technology is currently used primarily for marketing and sales purposes, in the future, investment organizations will be leveraging it to determine which leadership teams are most likely to succeed. And I could be reached out on my LinkedIn handle or my website, www.convanto.com. And thank you once again for having me here.
Thank you very much. Adrian, any quick closing thoughts, and where can everyone find you online as well?
Everywhere we go, people are looking into these devices most of the time, I would say, and this trend will continue. So the battlefield with artificial intelligence and data will happen, especially here or here in these places. So I highly advise entrepreneurs, investors to look which is the next big thing which can be discovered on these devices involving developments with AI and data, and not hesitating to place their bets there. I can be reached on LinkedIn. I answer to all messages, not all the time immediately. I'm grateful to LaToken team and to everybody involved for making this educational effort possible, which, I repeat myself, it's a real-life MBA on digital assets, startup entrepreneurship, and a family metaverse, I would say. So let's keep this effort going. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Adrian, for the kind words. Gary, close us out. Grandmaster of Artificial Intelligence. Where are we going in the next 3 years? Where can everyone find you in GSTV?
So as we go down through and look at our lives, look at all the challenges in front of us, there are going to be incredible opportunities for companies and for investors that want to invest in machine learning and deep learning to be able to solve this issue that we've talked about today of infobesity. What we need to do is we need to make sure we make compassionate, empathetic technologies, not just pragmatic, because we want to be able to have, as I've said many times, I've written several articles about it, we want to have that compassion to really guide us, almost like a guardian angel or something like like your grandmother, somebody that cares about you. And it's happening now, Kyle. The whole idea of sentiment analysis and AI with Google, with Facebook, with LinkedIn is around us. Health tech has been moving forward very quickly, as we've discussed about the vaccine. So I see it happening. Let's look at the opportunities. Let's figure out how we can use it to make this world a better place. Let's figure out how we can use it to make this world more accommodating for all of us. And let's really democratize the opportunities and share in the opportunity. So my name's Gary Fowler. You can reach me on LinkedIn or Twitter, or check me out on VCTV. In fact, right after this, I have a show with Keith Herman.
All right. Gary, Adrian, Vandana, Raghu, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and insights for today. To our audience, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, like, share, and subscribe on today's episode. Please do reach out to each and every one of the investors on today's panel, myself included. We'd all love to hear from you and what you're working on. Please do add context where you heard us, where you met us, and what you would like to continue the conversation about. With that being said, again, thank you to all of our panelists today, and also a big thank you to the Token team, to Hasmik and Maria, for making today's episode possible. Everyone have a wonderful day, and we'll see you back here later in the week.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.